Hong Kong Direct is your weekly racing roundup full of news, views, previews, interviews and special guests. Coming up on the show today, it's a busy time of year, the end of May. We're heading towards the international sale here in Hong Kong. We'll meet the man responsible for breaking and pre-training the horses. We'll look at the individual lots as well. Plus, Vagner, Borges really found a winning groove of late. We'll hear from him in part 2 of today's programme. Very warm welcome to the show. I'm Andrew Le Jeune. Please say I'm joined here by Declan Schuster, racing writer for the Hong Kong Jockey Club. And Declan, it is an exciting time of year. All of that going on, plus the Champions and Chater Cup, which is coming up pretty soon as well. Yeah, it truly is an exciting time of the year. We've got the breeze up tomorrow for the international sale, and as well Sunday week, the Champions and Chater Cup, with Exultant going for yet another Group 1. So it's all happening in Hong Kong at the moment. It certainly is. Now, as far as the international sale is concerned, we'll obviously, you hear from us quite a lot on the broadcast talking about ISG horses. How does it all work with these horses coming to Hong Kong and then being sold to the members? To put it simply, an ISG is an international sale graduate, so the club will go out and source horses from sales rings around the world like Arcana, Magic Millions and so forth, and purchase horses, and then we'll put them through the sales ring in Hong Kong, and from there it's just another way for owners to get involved in horse racing in Hong Kong. All right, and that all takes place on the morning of Saturday, the 23rd of May. We'll come back and talk about some of the horses in a moment or so. But first, earlier in the week, I spoke with the man responsible for breaking and pre-training all these horses, the Northern Hemisphere horses in the UK. That man is Malcolm Bastard.
Well, thanks for joining us, Malcolm. I know you're very busy this time of year, but before we get into your involvement with the international sales horses, maybe you could tell us a little bit about your background. Anyone who might not be aware, you've time in the saddle as a jockey. You were working with some of the finest in national hunt racing, both horses and people.
Absolutely, yes. I was lucky enough to work for Mr. Fred Winter for 10 or 11 years. I rode him a few winners, not a lot. There was some extremely talented jockeys around at the time, the likes of John Frankham. Jimmy Guest was a very, very good rider. He had Robert Kington. I think there was about 7 or 8 of us there at the time with licenses, and we only had 54 horses in training at that time. And going back as far as that, 54 was a very big yard in those days.
Well, we could probably fill our allotted time just with reminiscing over the stories of days gone by in a golden age. The likes of, I think, Pendle and Crisp were in the stable when you were there.
Pendle, Crisp, Beulah, Lanzarote. Yeah, very good horses.
All right, but on to present day, and you're now working with us, the Hong Kong Jockey Club, as the breaker and pre-trainer of the horses that come through the international sale. Can you tell us what that actually involves? I mean, you're not involved in the selection of the horses at the sales, but do they literally leave the sale yard and come straight to you, and then the pre-training begins?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's where I come in the programme. Yeah, the horses come back from the sales. They're vetted very thoroughly at the sales, so that they are eligible to enter Hong Kong. Although things can change in the meantime with them, they're not machines. So they get back to us, and basically we just give them a couple of 3 days just to settle down and make sure their systems are working and make sure they're drinking properly. And then we start on a gentle breaking programme. Some people do it differently, but I prefer to get on with them quietly and get some tack on them and just get them driving, and take a time in breaking them in and basically teaching them to be ridden by people and to have manners on them.
Do you find it's very hard, I suppose, to rank these sort of things of the important time in a horse's life, you know, from foaling to weanling to a yearling stage, but you can't underestimate the impact that it can have from a horse which is actually broken in and the first time someone sits on the horse to how they'll actually develop into a racehorse later on.
Absolutely, you could, if you was not sensible breaking them in, rushing too much and not taking into account the horse's temperament. You know, you could easily frighten a horse or get it into bad manners, and then he thinks those bad manners are normal, and then it's very difficult to get them right again. So it's very important to break them in properly. Take your time and get a nice mouth on them, keep them nicely balanced, and make sure that they're mature enough to take it mentally as well as physically.
So as far as this year's crop of the Jockey Club horses that are going through the sale at the end of the month, I know the one in particular was a Kodiak purchased for over 500,000 guineas. What are your thoughts on him and some of the other horses as well?
Okay, well, he was a beautiful colt when he arrived, and still is a beautiful horse now. I mean, he's got size, scope, and strength. He moves very well. I don't think he's a 5 or 6 furlong horse. I think he's more of a 7 furlong horse. But he's a very, very nice individual that's adapted extremely well in the time he's been in Hong Kong, and he pleased us here at home also.
Yeah. Do you never feel like training yourself and taking some of the glory being there in a top hat on the race day?
No, thank you. Absolutely no. We're very lucky in what we do. We're lucky to have marvellous people to work for, including the Hong Kong Jockey Club, who are very understanding, because it doesn't go right all the time. You know, these horses can go wrong, and they can't all be good, even if they're bought with nice conformation, nice pedigrees. You know, some of them don't turn out to be what you hope them to be. But no, I've never wanted to train. It's never entered my mind. I'm delighted with the career I've got, and hope I can do it for many, many more years to come.
Very kind of Malcolm to give us the time to talk all in the week, and great to see some of those lots out on the track as well. Declan here training at Sha Tin.
Yeah, it's fantastic to see, and I think that Kodiak, he's very hard to miss, that flashy grey in the mornings. Every time we're here at track work, we can see him stroll past, and he does look fantastic, so it's very nice to see.
And he's from the family as well of Lucky 9, but Malcolm suggesting that he might be looking for a little bit further than the sprinting trip, 14, maybe a mile as well. What about some of the other horses? Because we've got horses from South Africa this year as well, and Argentina, so a real diverse group. It is.
It's a really diverse group. It's fascinating to see, and some of those from Argentina come through quite cheaply as well, so there could be a little diamond in the rough as well. But just looking at Malcolm, I mean, we're talking about someone who's broken in horses for the Queen, John Gosden and Anthony Oppenheimer, so you can trust that they're coming through his academy well in good stead.
Yeah, he's had Golden Hall and Cracksman go through his yard. And I remember I actually spoke to him about that, and he said that there was a lot of quality about those horses. You can't tell how good they're going to be, but you sort of get a sense that there's something special about them. Some of the other ones he mentioned to me, Declan, was a Far Gelding. Thought he'd settle in quite well to Hong Kong. Of course, we've got Far Above. There's only a couple of Fars, I think, racing here at the moment, but Far Above has done very well since he arrived.
I think there's only a light handful, but yeah, exactly. Far Above's done fantastic, and we saw his amazing win that he did when he came from the back of the field, and even since then he's held himself in good stead, running very well. So there's some very interesting horses. One that caught my eye was the Exceed and Excel by Royal Order, the 200,000 guineas from the Tats sale, but it's just one of many that's going to go through the ring.
Yeah, there's 2 Exceed and Excels actually through that sale. The other one out of Khalistan, again, Malcolm saying, a nice quality horse with a turn of foot as well. So there's some of the horses going through this year. I actually should mention the Captain L from South Africa that Malcolm made note of as well, who is lot number 5, neat, strong, positive attitude as well. So maybe you want to look out for as well. But the ISGs in the past, Declan, we've had some real stars come through the ring.
We have. We've had horses like Good Barber, who won 3 Hong Kong miles in a row, Scintillation, who won a 2007 Centenary Sprint Cup, and of course the flashy Pakistan star of recent years. He won 2 Group 1s, the QE2 Cup and the Champions and Chater Cup, which comes up on Sunday week. And as well, the highest rated of the horses was Billion Win, who won the 1998 Queen's Silver Jubilee Cup with Dougie White aboard, and the 1998 Stewards Cup with Felix Coetzee aboard. So it's an esteemed list, and hopefully some of these horses this year are going to join that list.
Yeah, Billion Win was trained by the mighty Ivan Allen. At that time, the handicap system was a little bit different. He did get an inflated rating of 136. Things are ranked a little bit differently now. As we head off to a break, still plenty more to come. We'll hear from Vagner, Borges. We'll look ahead to the action at Sha Tin on the weekend as well. Let's take a check of some of the stars of years gone by through the ISG sale.
Douglas says going now. Armada's pulling to the centre of the course. Rebel's running a race, and then Bullish Luck as the Duke forges to the front. Olivier Deleuze says catch me if you can on the Duke. Race clear from Ramonti. Then Floral Pegasus. Armada's winding up, but the Duke in front. Armada's coming hard. It's the Duke in front. He's been in the placings at his last 2. He gets the glory today. The Duke.
Pakistan Star is charging through. Then Alain and Eagle Way. Pakistan Star hit the lead at the furlong. Race clear. Out wide on the track is Ping Hai Star. Pakistan Star clear from Goldmount into second. Eagle Way. Pakistan Star. He's moody. He's mercurial. But today he's magnificent.
Many chances. Scintillation runs the big race. Scintillation raced up to head off Natural Blitz and Ada Kali. Regency horses staying on with Our Jet, but it's Scintillation clear from Our Jet going into second. But Scintillation, he's back in business, third run back. Scintillation wins the Bohemia sprint from Our Jet and Regency horse. Good Baba. Sumion starts to go for Good Baba, and he's letting down brilliantly. Amada can't go with him, but Good Baba stormed to the front, and the miles all over. Good Baba coming away from Able One and Egyptian Ra, and this was cosy at the finish.
Billion Win went to the front. Johan Cruyff and Oriental Express come at him. Indigenous winding up, giving them too big a start, you think. Billion Win, Johan Cruyff, Oriental Express. Indigenous comes on. Johan Cruyff getting up on the fence. Billion Win won't give in. They hit it. Bobbing go. Billion Win.
Welcome back to Hong Kong Direct. Declan Schuster is still with me. We're looking ahead to the feature race at Sha Tin on Sunday in a moment or so. If you want to check out each individual race preview, though, head to the website, hkjc.com, Multimedia Showcase and Racing to Win, where it's broken down race by race. Next up for us, though, we're going to meet Vagner Borges, who was here for less than a month at the back end of last season, didn't manage a winner, but back for a short stint again this season. He can't stop riding winners. Ed Sadler caught up with him earlier this week to start off talking about his background in the first place and how he got into racing.
Eu comecei muito novo, com 11 anos de idade, no interior do Rio Grande do Sul, no sul do Brasil. E com 16 anos eu fui para a escolinha de aprendizes no Rio de Janeiro e comecei minha carreira lá.
You had a lot of success early on in your career, your champion apprentice. Looking at your career in Brazil, Barra Barra, the Triple Crown, was that a highlight there for you?
Esse cavalo me ajudou muito na minha carreira, né? Que ele correu 14 vezes, ganhou 13, tive a oportunidade de ganhar alguns grupos 1 com ele, inclusive a Tríplice Coroa. E foi uma alavanca na minha carreira, me ajudou bastante, apesar de eu ser muito novo, me ajudou muito.
You got to come to Hong Kong last season for the last 5 meetings of the season. Your first time ever out of Brazil. What was that experience like for you?
Foi uma experiência muito boa, né? Consegui evoluir mais como profissional, como pessoa, e ter a oportunidade de montar aqui com jockeys fantásticos e treinadores fantásticos também. Então, isso é sempre um aprendizado bom e me ajudou bastante para poder vir agora de novo e tentar mostrar meu trabalho.
This has been a successful stint so far, 7 winners, including a double on Saturday. Congratulations on that. What's been the highlight of your time these last couple of months here in Hong Kong?
Eu estou gostando muito, como falei, é um aprendizado de vida, um aprendizado na minha carreira, para mim evoluir tanto como pessoa quanto profissional. E eu agradeço muito a oportunidade que todos os treinadores estão me dando, todo mundo tem me tratado muito bem, me ajudando bastante, tentando aproveitar as oportunidades para ficar aqui para a próxima temporada.
And you can really see that as well, the way he's riding at the moment. Declan, he is having English lessons. It's getting better as better, but easier to conduct that in Portuguese for Ed, Declan, than do it in English.
Yeah, and he's proving a really capable jockey. He's a 4-time Brazilian champion jockey, and he's just riding with confidence, and he's striking up some good combinations there with John Moore and Mi Choi as well, getting nice support. And of course, he rode that Triple Crown winner, Bala Bali, who then went on to win 2 Group 1s in America. So, yeah, he's a very capable rider, and it's very exciting to watch his career develop.
The obvious comparison is being from Brazil is Joe Moreira, who's broken record after record since he's been there. So it's difficult or unfair, really, to measure him against him. But one thing they do have in common is that horses just seem to run for them.
They do. They just seem to run for him. And it's interesting, though. Joe came through Singapore, whereas You know, Steve Ralton here in the Hong Kong Jockey Club has sourced Vagner straight from Brazil, and he's come straight to Hong Kong. So, you know, different career paths and everything, but I think Vagner's proving a very capable jockey.
And this partnership seems to have struck with John Moore, rode a winner for him midweek there at Happy Valley in Beauty Happy. We were just talking about his rides for the weekend and trying to figure out which one was his best. But Beauty Happy was it was double-figure prize, was a big prize. So maybe you've got to look outside the square a little bit with Vagner. I
think so. And just going through his book of rides, it's nice to see him getting support as well from Ricky Yu, the likes of Francis Loy. So it's a very well-rounded book that he's got. And, you know, as you said, Beauty Happy was about 29 to 1. So who knows, there might be another 29 to 1 shot getting home for Vagner on the weekend.
All right, he's got 7 rides on the 10-race programme on the weekend, so we wish Vagner all the very best and thank him for his time as well with that interview with Ed. Looking ahead to Sunday's programme, and our feature race comes up as race number 8, the Hoi Ha Handicap. It's a Class 2 of the 1,800 metres, headed by Butterfield, beaten favourite on his last 2 starts. Super Race is back out of the Derby, blinkers on, now with Ricky Yu as well in Richmond. Second on his last 4 starts. Amazing beats. Cheek pieces on for him. He's also coming out of the Derby. Uncle Steve was much better last time out. Rickfield scored at big odds this season. A Righteous Doctrine from Michael Chan. Karis Teaton, who was third over this distance, but at Happy Valley last time out behind Dances with Dragon. So it's a decent lineup here, Declan. As far as the ones you want to pick out and talk about first, Uncle Steve, maybe let's start with him for Douglas White, because it was a much better run from him last time.
Yeah, you saw this season. He won first up. His first run of the season, he won really well. And then since that day, he found a quarter crack in his leg. So he's struggled since then. He lost a bit of form. But last start, we saw him bounce back at 120 to 1. He rattled home for third. So it's encouraging to see that. Now he steps up from 1,600 to 1,800, which is a positive for him. And I think we're going to see the best of him again. And he's always had that potential. So it's nice to see that that's coming to fruition.
All right, well, Douglas White also has Thinking Big in the field. And we caught up with him at track work this week to get his thoughts on his 2 runners.
Start off with Thinking Big. This looks easier than the Champions Mile for him. He's had a couple of runs for you. Are you getting a bit of a guide for what he's like as a horse?
Yeah, I am. You know, he works well enough in the mornings, and I think he ran with a bit of credit in the Champions Mile. He was way out of his league, but he put himself in the race, and he looked like he stayed on. He feels like he's come out of that race and benefited from the run. You know, he was off the track for a long time, and he was injury prone. So let's give him the benefit of the doubt, and I brought him back as quietly and as gently as possible. He's a really big individual who probably needs a lot of mileage in his legs and to get him to where he has to be, but he's getting there slowly, and I couldn't be happier with the way he's going.
Uncle Steve, Douglas, did you expect him to return to form the way that he did last time out?
I did expect him. The betting didn't, though. I think he was way over the odds. You know, I put him on the turf a couple of days before that run, and he was back on song. He lost a bit of form during the mid part of the season, and rightfully so, through a quarter crack. And he's had to get his confidence back and get over that. But slowly and surely he has, and the writing was on the wall last time, and he seems to have carried that form through to this run. He's worked well at home. He's shown me everything's back on song. So we're stepping up to 1,800 this time, and hopefully Chad can get a nice soft run on him and put him to sleep somewhere midfield or worse, and he can attack the line.
You'd have to think that Uncle Steve would be the number 1 string of the 2. But Thinking Big's an interesting runner, Declan. Jerry Chow taking 10 pounds off his back, so he's got a featherweight, 115 pounds on his back, and he's a quality horse as well, at his very best, obviously.
He is. We've seen in Australia won 2 Group 2s over 1,800 metres, sorry, Group 3s over 1,800 metres. And 2,000 metres, so he gets out to his preferred distance now. He's got a bit of quality about him, and he placed at Group 1 level as well in Australia in the Spring Champion Stakes. So I think he's had a few soundness issues. I think Dougie's ironed those out, and it's going to be interesting to see the best of him this weekend. And as well, he does drop in class, Group 1 to that Class 2 now. So that's a big drop. So we'll see. Hopefully we see an improved effort from him.
Yeah, Jerry Chow hit the ground running last weekend with a double. What about some of the other Super Oasis out of the Derby? Now with Ricky Yu as well, this season's leading trainer.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see this horse. He's been an interesting horse. I think we saw him over 2,000 metres, and you saw a little bit in the final furlong that he didn't really hit the line. So it's going to be interesting to see how he goes now back down to 1,800, which might be preferred for him. But he's got quality about him. He's a Group 2 winner in New Zealand, so it's going to be interesting to see how he goes. And of course, Zach Purton takes the reins now, so he's going to be a close watching, I think.
What about some of the other runners? Butterfield with top weight, beaten favourite on his last 2 starts. And the other horse I thought was quite interesting as well as Enrichment. Now he's been runner-up on his last 4, I think, now, but he always runs his race.
Oh, he's so honest, and he's the most deserving winner of the race. But again, whether you're going to see him get his nose in front, it's a good booking though with Antoine Hammerlane. We've seen the Frenchman, he's hit the ground running since he got to Hong Kong, and you see him in the finish. He's a very strong jockey, and he really gets the best out of horses. So just maybe he's going to be the telling factor with Enrichment in the finish.
One horse who made his debut last weekend was Arrogant. Now, he brought good form from Australia as well, runner-up to the Autumn Sun in last year's Rose Hill Guineas. Interesting to see him on the quick backup, because it didn't really work out for him last weekend. Yeah,
he's an interesting horse. I think I've actually got a few queries about this horse, to be honest. That Group 1 Derby placing was on a bottomless track, in a sense. And so coming here, firmer ground, I think I'm going to have to see a few runs for this horse. But as well, he just does have a lot of quality about him. So it's going to be interesting to see where he goes.
All right, have we mentioned the winner, do you think, in that little round-up there?
Oh, I hope it's Uncle Steve, because I really like this horse. I think he's got a bit of quality about him, and I like that he's put his little setback behind him, and I hope he's going to get the job done.
All right, so there you go. Uncle Steve for race number 8 there, with Douglas White in the saddle. All right, as far as the action is concerned coming up over the next week or so, we've got Happy Valley again Wednesday night, 9 races from the Valley, and then next Sunday, so a week on Sunday, the 24th, the final Group 1 of the season, the Standard Chartered Champions and Chater Cup, and the Chartier Vase as well, but the big one over the 1.5 mile Exultant back to defend his crown. And the way it's turned out as well, Declan, as far as the Champions and Chater Cup is concerned, is that we've got 2 trainers basically going toe-to-toe here in John Moore and Tony Cruz.
Yeah, it's a small little field, and we've got some interesting horses still going around. Furore put in an improved effort last start, so it's going to be interesting to see him get out to 2,400 now. And, you know, as a Derby winner over 2,000 metres, he's got a bit of quality about him, and a few other horses in the race. So it's a small little field, but I think it's going to be an interesting race. Exultant's probably going to go off favourite, but, you know, we've seen upsets before, and he's been beaten as a 1.2 favourite this season already. So you just don't know with these races. A lot can happen.
Well, great stuff. Thanks, Declan. Enjoy the action this weekend. We'll catch up again soon.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, there you go. That's the show. Thanks for watching. Hopefully we can count on your company again on Sunday from Sha Tin. We'll bring all the action from Hong Kong direct to you.